Now, the theme of the conference is the micro enterprise, the plight of micro enterprises in the context of the COVID-19. Let me just reflect on the state of affairs now. What is going on now is not recession or depression, but great global economic paralysis. Recession entails dramatic fall in economic and service activities for 2 consecutive quarters. That means 6 months. So we have been suffering this only last 2.5 months. So, technically speaking, it is not a recession, but the indications are that it is plunging into a great recession. It is not depression, because depression means dramatic fall in economic activities for a few years. If you take the example of the Great Depression of 1930s, which surfaced in the US in 1929, and the recovery commenced only in 1933. That's why it was called the Great Economic Recession, Great Economic Recession. So we cannot call it a Great Economic Depression. We cannot call it a depression because we have to wait and see how it goes. But definitely, it is the great global economic paralysis. Paralysis is normally caused by sickness, and this time it is caused by a very, very dangerous virus. So, amidst a very somber state of affairs, what is the role of micro enterprises? Can micro enterprises thrive, survive, withstand the crisis? This is the issue. It is said that small is beautiful. I would say small is beautiful, possible, and profitable. In times of crisis, if the proper interventions are made to rejuvenate the micro enterprises. Small is also doable, and it is practical, and micro enterprises can certainly transform the rural India. It is said that India's struggle to achieve rapid economic transformation is apt to be won or lost in the countryside. And micro enterprises constitute the nerve center of such a dramatic shift in the rural areas. So let us have a quick glance at the new definition. I am not going to talk about the problems of micro enterprises in the past and how they were struggling and all these things. Let us, past is history. Okay, future is mystery, and the present is the gift of God. So what we do today determines our future. Our present will determine the future. So let us reflect on the conditions as prevailing now. Fortunately, the government of India came out with a very big package, new economic package, to help all sectors, productive sectors and service sectors. Let me confine this to the micro enterprises, befitting the theme of the conference. Now, micro enterprises are now redefined. Initial investment can be up to 1 crore and turnover can be to the tune of 5 crores. It is a dramatic policy decision which is needed by the micro enterprises, because micro enterprise owners normally want to remain as micro enterprises in order to get the benefits, institutional assistance, business support services and all these things, and they seldom try to graduate to small enterprises, and small enterprises refuse to graduate to medium enterprises because they want to enjoy the benefits of micro enterprise. So because of the redefinition, the scaled up operations of micro enterprises also will benefit from the support services and business support services. Now, let us have a quick glance at the new incentive system injected by the government of India now. Collateral-free loan, without pledging any collateral security, you can get loan. You can get emergency financial assistance to meet the working capital. Credit guarantee scheme, in case there is a default and you are not able to pay, somebody stands as a guarantor. Low interest rate and moratorium on principal payments. Plus, institutional technical assistance to increase the quality of products and turn out the products complying with the international standards and quality control norms, and also business support services, including marketing intelligence network. So these are all the contours and tenets of the new package, which definitely creates an enabling environment for the micro enterprises to thrive even in a very depressed state of affairs. Now, what are the key constraints and sources of rejuvenation? Normally, the key constraints are high cost of production and high cost of doing business. High cost of production normally stems from inadequate infrastructural facilities and utility services. Fortunately, in India today, as we are seeing in the last several years, there is a determined effort on the part of the government to create a very strong infrastructural base. That's why we are seeing the four-way lane roads and infrastructural projects, big infrastructural projects. They are all on. We are witnessing. I don't have to convince you. And the infrastructural base is being created with a determination, very strong determination. Cost of doing business is normally coming from many non-economic factors. When you look at the cost of doing business, corruption is normally cited as one of the reasons for high cost of doing business. That is definitely fading away. If you look at the ranking of India on the scale of ease of doing business, you will see there was a dramatic increase in the ranking of India out of 190 countries. 3 years ago, our ranking went up to 100, from 160 to 100, and then it went up to 75. And today, in 2020, our ranking out of 190 countries on the scale of ease of doing business is 63. It is fantastic. That is why India is emerging as the investment destination. So, sources of rejuvenation. See, it is important that the government emerges as an entrepreneur, not in terms of owning industrial assets, but in terms of rekindling new and dynamic sources of growth. In order to rekindle the new and dynamic sources of growth, they should render technical assistance, effective technical assistance to the small industries free of cost, and business support services free of cost. If you look at the role of regional development agencies in dynamic industrial locations, even in developed countries, you will realize that these regional development agencies are virtually babysitting enterprises. They are advising them on daily basis how to climb the ladder of value addition, how to effect improvement in precision, how to turn out the products complying with international standards and quality control norms. On all these things, free technical assistance is rendered by the respective regional development agencies. That is why dynamic industrial locations flourish. So it is important that these micro enterprises get technical assistance and business support services free of cost. So if these things are there, definitely we can easily rejuvenate the micro enterprises. Now, while rejuvenating enterprises, we should actually reflect on the types of recovery which we envisage. The recovery of the economy from the depressed conditions may take V-shape, U-shape, or W-shape. We call it V-shaped recovery and U-shaped recovery.
Okay. Our profile எங்கிட்ட இல்லையா?
No, someone is.
Can you interrupt பண்ணாதீங்க, நீங்க போன்ல தனிப்பா பேசுங்க. Okay.
Can you ask her to mute it? Yeah. So the recovery can be V-shaped, U-shaped, or W-shaped. V-shaped recovery means you just assume that the virus curve will be flattened. COVID-19 curve will be flattened. Let us assume that. If it ends very soon and we take it for granted, immediately all productive sectors and service activities will be very active and they will accelerate the pace of recovery, and there will be a steep rise in the activities of the service sector and productive sectors. That will lead to V-shape. As things stand today, it may not happen because and the type of disease which is affecting the global economy is very dangerous as long as we don't have the preventive means and curative means. We are really at a loss to know. Things are in a bifurcated state of affairs. So it appears we have to live with this COVID. We used to talk about, Stone Age, Iron Age, and then Carbon Age and Green Age. Now we are living in an era of COVID age. We are conditioned to live with that. If we are conditioned to live with that, so how to make our life consistent with the COVID? That means compatible with the COVID, and we, along with the COVID, we somehow believe and actively engage ourselves in productive activities. So let us go to the U-shaped recovery. U-shaped recovery means it will take some time to recover. It is called reluctant recovery. Reluctant recovery means it takes some time and slowly it will pick up. Of course, the priorities will be different and there will be many problems. I genuinely think that U-shaped recovery will happen. Another type of recovery is W-shaped. In case the virus continues to spread and we are not able to contain, India is doing extremely a good job in the sense, in relative terms, we are doing extremely good, as evidenced by the very low mortality rate. Mortality rate is less than 1%. So it is remarkable. So if we are not able to keep pace with that, if the virus fails to disappear, so what will happen? There will be recurrence of the virus, and then again shutdown will happen, intermittent shutdown will happen. So that will definitely lead to W-shaped recovery. So amidst all these recoveries, how these micro enterprises can thrive. Let us now go to the next one. See, there are 4 L's here. See, if you look at the new facets, that is so-called the new normal, it is called new normal. New normal is the real normal. The type of life we have been living so far was not normal, which was abnormal. The virus stemmed not from nature, but it stemmed from our misbehavior with nature. That's why I say the type of life we were living was not normal. Then in the new normal, there are 3 or 4 L's happening. One, we have to save the lives of people. Life, that is number 1 L. And second one is livelihoods. We have to create sustainable sources of livelihoods. Then lifestyle. Lifestyle is completely changed, dramatically changed. The COVID-19 turned the world upside down. It appears people got acclimatized with it very easily. They are getting themselves acclimatized to the new trend, new style of living very easily. And I could see how smooth the transition was. People are content with that. So the new style of living, new mode of working, new pattern of production, new means of selling, all these things are happening. So the next L is liberating with the virtual world. What is going to happen is open innovation and value creation network in the virtual world. Whether we can participate in the value addition, whether we can enable the micro enterprises participate in the open innovation and value creation network in the virtual world is a big challenge. So these within the framework of the various facets of all these 4 L's, life, livelihoods, lifestyle, and liberating way to the virtual world, we have to see the role of micro enterprises. Let us now look at the opportunities, promising product areas, food processing. There are so many promising product areas which can strengthen the immune system of the people. Remember that we are analyzing all these things within the framework of the 4 L's I suggested. So what are the promising product areas in food processing? I can take the example of Moringa products, Moringa leaf, Moringa powder. Because of the high iron content and vitamin C, if someone takes the Moringa powder regularly, the immune system is boosted up. So whoever is involved in a small micro enterprise operation, processing Moringa the powder and selling it, he can fetch a huge one. Now people are well aware of that, aware of the advantages of. This is one example I am citing. And that for the food processing activities to flourish, there should be common facility centers. Common facility centers are normally organized by the government within the framework of public-private partnership. And when that is created, anybody can take any raw material to the common facility center, get it processed, add some value, and sell it in the market. So this is the only way to encourage the micro enterprises. In each location, according to the products available in that location, common processing facilities in common, it's called common facility center. Common facility center should be established in order for the stakeholders involved in food processing to get their products processed there and sell it. Then on sale of product, on sale, online sale of a product. This is another thing emerging very well. I am in Kanyakumari. Actually, I am at the southern tip of India, surrounded by 3 seas. Now, I am seriously entertaining a thought to start some online sale of fish. What I need to do in order to, I just create a network of 100, minimum 100 regular customers, 100 or 200 or 300 regular customers. And every day, I send messages to them through their cell phone, saying that these are all the products available here. Today, this type varieties of fishes landed on shore, or this, how much you want, something like that. Then you get the order from them and they make the on-door delivery. Then that will be a very big coveted occupation. And you can even call it today's catch. The business operation can be called today's catch. That means you are keeping your customers. First, you create a nice network with at least 100 customers and tell them that every day they will get an SMS message from you informing them what are the varieties of fish available in Kanyakumari this morning. Call it today's catch. Then within 30 minutes, ask them to give the order, how much they want. Then arrange the operational mechanism in such a way that whatever they want is delivered to them. This is one way of doing. I'm just citing one simple example. Then garments is another area. Actually, garments, it's called CMT operations, cut, make, trim operations. If you look at the history of garment making, even in Japan, initially Japan started with labor-intensive garments decades ago. Then when the wage level went up, then they redeployed their garment making operations, cut, make, trim operations to the first generation of newly industrialized countries in East Asia, Thailand, Taiwan province of China, and Indonesia, Malaysia. So it was all redeployed to that one. When wage level went up very high, then they redeployed the garment operations to second generations of newly industrialized countries. In garment making, in spite of the incidence of technical progress making deep inroads into garment making, cheap labor is the key determinant of competitiveness globally. Cheap labor, that's why Bangladesh continues to flourish. Nepal continues to flourish by exporting garments. Lesotho, there are so many other countries. Then the wage level went up in East Asian countries. Chinese operators involved in cut, make, trim operations, they redeployed everything to Mauritius. And you know the story of Mauritius. And garments accounted for 85% of their total exports. And Mauritius started flourishing. And in Mauritius, when they started with the garment operations, cut, make, trim operations, the wage level was only rupees $50. Now it is more than $700 US. Again, the wage went up. Then the garment operations were redeployed to low wage cost locations in Africa. This is the story. So in relative terms, if you compare the average wage in India, say $200 per month, $200 would fetch around 15,000 rupees. Even that amount is a very low wage cost globally. Globally, it is we still enjoy that low labor cost. I'm actually quoting a very high wage level, but say $150, even 10,000 rupees is relatively low cost for the garment operators. So these garment operators, one can start micro enterprises by subcontracting the many components of garment making and within the framework of well-defined division of labor to the household. You can engage 300 households to produce something. What is now happening in India is something called neo-industrious revolution. industrious revolution means before the evolution of the first industrial revolution in the 18th century, the household sector responded to growing demand for goods and services. Before the first industrial revolution, the demand for goods and services was increasing. There was nobody to produce, no factory, no workshop, nothing. The household sector responded. When the household sector responded, it was called industrious revolution. Now, what is happening now is a neo-industrious revolution. Each household can definitely participate in the global value chain, provided they have the enhanced adaptive capabilities to use modern technology and to commercialize new knowledge. This is possible. So CMT operations can be redeployed. One who is running a micro enterprise can network with the many households, then he can get the product at incredibly low price and enhance the price competitiveness in the global market and penetrate coveted global markets. Then making laptops using e-waste. In Africa, it's a big business. Unemployed engineers are collecting e-waste from the slum, and they they refurbish the computers and laptops, and it looks as good as a new one. And they are selling it at the incredibly low price, maybe $100, maximum $100, not more.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Incredibly low price. So this is one possibility. And I know 17 engineers in Nigeria, they hello, these people who make computers and laptops using the e-waste collected from the slum are minting money like anything. And now they have 6,000 vendors supplying components to them. Then renewable sources of energy. This is another thing. It is according to a leading opinion maker, in the next 20 years, everything will be triggered by renewable sources of energy. And each house will be a powerhouse. The centralized distribution of electricity will collapse. And your own house will generate your own electricity, what you need. And when they read about it, Chinese, they immediately invented a paint, it appears. The paint serves like a solar cell. The paint used for the external appearance of the house is serving like a solar cell. That means you are getting your energy from your own, the external appearance of your house. The paint which gives the external appearance of your house, that is a source of energy for you. So people are going in that direction. So it is environmentally very friendly. It is going. Another product is the cassava, tapioca. We are all familiar with the tapioca. You know that it grows like a wild plant. There is a huge demand for tapioca in the international market for two reasons: for producing industrial starch and also for processing food, animal feed. And tapioca can be actually grown, cut into pieces, and you have to export it in semi-processed form like pellets. And in Europe, there is a huge demand for it. Thailand is number one in exporting the cassava products. I witnessed that one. And the factory does not own any farm to grow cassava. Yeah, they are collecting the cassava from the agents. Agents somehow collect it from anywhere, wherever it is available, even from the backyard of each house, and dump it. Tons and tons of cassava will be done at the factory gate every day. And then everything is mechanized and peeled, it is cleaned, processed, and cut into pieces and exported to Europe. But because of this export, around 6,000 families are benefiting from each factory processing cassava. And next one is the seaweed. Seaweed is available in some locations. You see very high quality of seaweed. That is also being sold like hotcake in the international market. Zanzibar is well known for that. The farmers, fishermen just go and collect the seaweed. They don't even clean it using the seawater. Straight away give it to the agents, and they are minting money like anything. I have seen the transformation there. When the demand for seaweed from China increased, the farmers of the Zanzibar island started collecting seaweed and supplying it to the agents who was exporting it to China. And because of the increased income, I am being constantly disturbed by some conversation. There is a parallel meeting going on. Can you ask them to kindly ask them?
Vendachalam sir, konjam.
Yeah.
It's
okay. So this is one. Then making paper out of banana trunk. There is an Australian technology available, and you know that there is a huge demand for paper bag in the supermarkets. Now they abandoned plastic bags, and if someone is engaged in the production of paper bags, it can easily be sold like that. And it is now done. Banana trunk, normally we throw it away. We cut into pieces and throw it away. But now using the Australian technology, one can actually make paper, and that paper can be used for making environmentally friendly paper bags. And this is a unique opportunity for us because Trump, American president, recently announced this economic prosperity network. And he included several countries: India, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Vietnam. These countries are included there. And we can benefit a lot. And immediately the government of India responded, and they said, we welcome this. And we offered many attractive incentives to these people who want to benefit out of this, the so-called economic prosperity network. The one way is to work within the framework of this one and try to get you can even import second-hand Australian technology. Second-hand Australian technology to convert these banana trunks into paper. Then local resource-based low-cost building material is another one, very good one. In each location, you always find some resources which can be used for making building materials. And our Ministry of Urban Development is giving a lot of incentives and even giving machinery free of cost sometimes. For whoever, I have seen one technology. It's like cycling. You keep it in the backyard and collect red stone and put it there, mix it with water and put it there, add 5% salt there and press it very hard by cycling. You can easily produce 200 bricks a day. It can be a sustainable source of livelihood for it. You can do that. It's a small example. So you have to exploit the viable avenues of making use of the locally available resources for producing low-cost building materials. The network production for milk and dairy products. This I saw in Syria. What happens? A company, a micro enterprise, it just distributed cows to some 200 house and the small households, and they are keeping the cows in the backyard of this one. And this company is providing them with the feed and everything, whatever is needed. And they have a well-organized system to collect the milk also. So there is no need to run a big dairy farm. You just give it to many people, many households, and arrange an efficient network for distributing the feed and collecting the milk and this one. So there are very good examples. Actually, the owner of Arun Ice Cream, Mr. Chandra Mohan, he failed. He was a school dropout. When his father told him that you are not good for studies, you take care of the 3 cows we have. Now he is taking care of 3 lakh cows. You know the growth of this enterprise, Arun Ice Cream. And his aim is to soon cover, I think, 1 crore cows or something like that. This is another area too. Waste management is a very coveted business occupation. You can actually convert. It is said that waste is not a waste until it is wasted. So you can collect, there's a big demand for it. You can go and negotiate with the panchayat officials. Sir, again, someone is talking. It is very
please
disturbing.
Move to the art of Dr. Vendachalam.
See, my chat, I am not able to deliver because I'm being constantly disturbed.
I think better to move to the audio of Dr. Vendachalam. We can continue. If he's not there, if it's disturbed, we would not, I think just ask them to mute the video.
Okay. So, as I said, waste is not, one lady is speaking, sir. I hear the voice of the lady constantly speaking. Okay. The waste is not, she does not stop. It's okay. I will just ignore her. Waste is not a waste until it is wasted. So
Sister, please instruct Dr. Venkachalam to leave the place.
You can actually go and negotiate with the panchayat office, township office, and municipalities. They will be very happy if you tell them that you have a project to process the waste. The real challenge in waste management is classifying bio from other material, and that is being done. Even in Germany, it is done manually. The separation is done manually. Highly paid staff members are doing it. So this is another one. Then fabricating improved versions of traditional agricultural tools. We know, this is what I did in Sudan when I was trying to help the internally displaced persons in the Nuba mountain region. I went and conducted a survey and asked the internally displaced persons who went to the areas of origin and areas of choice. There is a place called Nuba mountain region where people maintained durable peace for 3 consecutive years, and they were expecting peace dividend in terms of sustainable sources of livelihood. When I went and asked them, what are your priorities? They said, first priority is to own a piece of land. Second priority is to get some assistance from the government or NGOs to cultivate the land and to reduce post-harvest losses. Then get into some type of semi-processing activities, value addition point. So I captured a niche. So cultivate the land. Why can't these people use improved versions of agricultural tools? So I looked at the traditional tools they were using as we use the normal plow, wooden plow here. They were using it. And it's all animal traction, done by animal traction. Then we thought there is a role for us to play. We said, why can't we establish a workshop to fabricate improved versions of agricultural implements, locally used traditional agriculture. I will give you one example. If you just attach a S-shaped spring, which is flexible, when it is propelled by the animal, it makes deep plowing. It goes, this S-shaped metal made of cast iron makes deep plowing, and when it is not used, it comes back to the original design. It's a very simple mechanism, but it increased agricultural. This small improvement made by us in the traditional agricultural tool. It's okay, it's gone. Okay, so if you make effect simple improvements to the traditional means, what will happen? It will increase agricultural productivity significantly. And through this process, we eradicated extreme poverty in 147 villages. When the World Bank heard about it, they conducted an assessment of that in a report called Community-Based Development Projects in Sudan, Lessons Learned. They say the type of interventions made by us is the best model for post-conflict recovery and development in terms of sensitization, target beneficiaries, local empowerment, tangible impact, and sustainability. It was highly applauded. Then we got a lot of funds from the European Union. It's a simple thing. So when the fabrication of improved versions of traditional agricultural tools can make a breakthrough in that. Then another one is the grassroots innovations. Grassroots innovations are new growth impulses. Every time people are coming out with so many things. If you use the solar alone, varieties of inventions are being done. And these people who are involved in grassroots innovations should be encouraged, and their products should be optimally used for turning out products with a high degree of economic efficiency, ecological compliance, and social inclusion. Now, let me just return. In whatever we want to do, it's important to realize that technology is the key to unlock the development potential. If you look at the history of economic development, first they invented some type of small workshops were trying to do something, some mechanical operations. Then steam power was invented, then electricity, and then came electronics. And now the entire productive process, service activities and productive activities are triggered by disruptive technologies. Disruptive technologies are new technologies which make the old system stumble. And they are creating a situation called creative destruction. They destroy the old things, and we are all exposed to what is called creative destruction. Disruptive technologies are advanced digital manufacturing production, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, additive manufacturing, big data management, then cloud computing, 3D printers. 3D printers are making wonders now. 3D printers, then electromobility, Internet of Things, Internet of Services, and the Internet of Electricity. These are all disruptive technologies. And these disruptive technologies make major breakthrough in increasing productivity and enhancing the performance of the firms. So to climb the ladder of value addition, we cannot afford to ignore the incidence of technical progress. And by doing that, we can reach the threshold of competitiveness. If we are able to reach the threshold of competitiveness by making optimal use of the technology available, we can reach the threshold of competitiveness. I can give you one example, citing Malaysia. This is my last point. With that, I will try to wind up. You know, oil palm was originally transplanted from West Africa to Malaysia. In Malaysia, oil palm is a potential source of wealth creation. And they are turning out nearly 83 varieties of palm oil-based products. In West Africa, it's still a tragedy. They are not able to make use of that. Why? Because Malaysia applied science and technology to each and every aspect of the oil development, palm oil development, including efficient farm management. By making simple improvements in the farm, they increase the productivity of each plant. And then they use technology and science and technology to produce an array of value-added products. 83 varieties of products are being turned out by them. In Africa, nothing is happening. They just pluck it and sell it in a primitive way and in a very unprocessed form to other countries. So unless you apply science and technology to whatever you try to do, even at the micro level, you cannot survive. In an internationally competitive environment, it is not the question of the survival of the biggest or smallest, but the fastest. Only those who keep pace with the rapidly changing facets of processing, design, and marketing will survive. Otherwise, others will definitely fall apart. So with that, I wind up. I am available for questions to be answered by me. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.